Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing no contact success after 10 months. I provide audio coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details. www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing no contact success after 10 months. So a few days ago, I received a fantastic comment on one of my YouTube videos. In essence, this comment explained how after 10 months of no contact, their ex had phoned them up and wanted to reconnect. In today's podcast, I thought I would discuss 3 points of what this success story means for others going through the grind. So let's get straight into this. And number 1 is we never know when the story ends. If you have been dumped, it can be very easy to look forward and not see a bright future. It feels like you are in a bleak tunnel and there is no light of happiness that can be seen in any way, shape or form. But what we need to understand is that we never know when the story ends. We never know when any part of our life ends for good or just ends for the moment. So in the respect of if you have been dumped, what this means is that in this current moment, you and your ex are not together. In the past you was, and the future is unknown. In your life story, you and your ex were together. You was obviously in a certain period of your life, you was in a relationship together. And hence your ex had a starring role in some of the previous chapters of your life. Right now, they are not in your life. This chapter, they are not taking a starring role. Maybe next chapter they won't. Maybe the chapter after that, they will not be in it either. But what no one knows is whether your ex will make a return to your story later down the line. Will they once again have a starring role in later chapters of your life story? This is why I say we never know when the story ends. You never know what the future holds. And this comment that was left where somebody was explaining that after 10 months of no contact, they heard from their ex and their ex wanted to reconnect. This showcases that anything is possible. 10 months is a long time. When you have been dumped, a week feels a long time. A day feels a long time initially. But the weeks and the first few months can feel like a lifetime. When we get to that 10-month period, it might feel like that all hope is lost. But ultimately, if enough romantic emotional attraction has been regrown, there is always a chance of reconnection. I've heard many instances of dumpers contacting dumpies years later after a breakup. We're not talking days, we're not talking weeks, we're not talking months, we're talking years after a breakup. I've known of many instances of where this has happened. So 10 months, it might feel like a lifetime, it might feel impossible, but this shows that anything can happen ultimately and often when you least expect it. Now, it's very important for me to say that you shouldn't sit around waiting. You can't wait, you can't clock watch, you can't expect your ex to come back because sadly, there is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back. And just because in this instance, somebody has heard from their ex after 10 months, it doesn't mean, unfortunately, that you will. We never know what the future holds, and therefore we must live our life. Now, even though this success story shows that their ex got in contact after 10 months, what I would have said is that I really hoped they lived their life during these 10 months. Because these 10 months are still 10 months of life. 10 months of life which need to be lived. So it's not just on the basis that we don't know if we will hear from our ex again. What it is about is living your life. Even if you could be guaranteed of hearing from your ex again in 10 months, 11 months, a year's time, you should still be living your life. So it doesn't matter the fact that we don't know if we'll hear from them again. Because even if we did know for certain we would, we should still live our life. You need to be living your life every single day, creating new experiences and making new connections. So this is a wonderful story. It will really help people going through the grind in the early days, weeks and months, that anything is possible. 10 months is a long time, but if enough romantic emotional attraction is grown, you always have the chance of hearing from your ex again. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast of no contact success after 10 months and what we can learn about this story. And point number 2 is no contact grows attraction. So what we can see from this story is that it took 10 months of romantic emotional attraction to be slowly grown before this person's ex wanted to reconnect. So no contact works, but it works slowly, it works at its own pace, and it will only fully work, you might say, if enough attraction can be grown. So what I mean by that is that when a breakup takes place, the dumper's level of romantic emotional attraction has fallen to a certain low point. But unfortunately, we can't see what that low point is. Of course, there is no way of knowing for certain how low this has dropped. What we can say, though, is that a dumper will only want to reconnect if and when enough romantic emotional attraction has regrown to the necessary high point. So this grows slowly over time, but if it has dropped to a significant point which is just impossible to regrow to the necessary line, that is when, sadly, you will never hear from your ex again. In this instance, it took 10 months. 10 months is a long time. A lot of romantic emotional attraction is likely to have needed to be regrown during this period. Slowly but surely, day by day, week by week, it would have grown, and then when it hit the necessary high point, that is when they was prime and ready for ignition of a trigger or self-reflection. If those things happen when there is enough fuel, enough romantic emotional attraction, that is when an ex will reach out. And in this instance, it took 10 months. So if your ex needs to grow a lot of romantic emotional attraction, it can take a long time. And as I said in point number 1, sadly, sometimes it will never be able to regrow enough. But what we can see from this story is that no contact grows attraction. At the time of a breakup, this person no longer wanted to be in a relationship with their former partner. And now, 10 months later, 10 months of no contact, they are missing their ex. They want to reconnect. We can all learn from here that no contact is the best strategy. But unfortunately, there can be some confusion about what no contact actually means. I strongly suggest you subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring the bell for notifications, and check out my playlist entitled The No Contact Rule. There are many different versions of a no contact rule that you can find online, and I believe that my version will give you the best possible chance of success. So check out my playlist on my YouTube channel and familiarise yourself with my version of a rule so you can learn how to give yourself the best possible chance of regrowing in your ex's mind enough romantic emotional attraction so that you can reconnect and grow a new relationship on stronger foundations. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast of no contact success after 10 months and what we can learn from this story. And point number 3 is be prepared for any type of contact. So normally I'm always talking about how you are likely to receive contact via a text, via a messaging app, and that's absolutely true. That is the most likely way you will receive contact from your ex. However, it's not the only way. And in this success story where the poster who typed in my comments put, they have said that their ex contacted them via a phone call. So although a phone call is less likely to be a way of reaching out to your ex, it's certainly possible. And therefore you need to be prepared for any type of contact. If you are just prepared for a text message, that is not going to put you in the right mindset for every eventuality. If you receive a phone call, especially if you're not sure who is actually phoning you at that time, It can be very shocking, it can be very jarring to hear your ex's voice. Now, you need to be keeping a stable mindset. When you are sending messages, this is easier to do. You can take some time out before you reply. But on the phone, you are speaking in real time. You need to make sure you come across as calm and stable. Somebody who is happy, carefree and fun. All of these things can be challenging if you are not ready for this situation. So always prepare for every situation. Make sure you realise that your ex might contact you on a phone one day, they might contact you and you might not even realise it's them. It could be on a withheld number, it could be a different number, you might not know it's them. Now, I don't know if the person who typed the comment, I don't know if they knew it was their ex or not at the time of the call. They didn't say. So maybe they knew instantly it was their ex, maybe they didn't. But what I would say to you is prepare for the unexpected. Now, how can you do this? Well, you can talk through in your own mind. What would you say? What would you say if your ex called you now? If your ex called you right now, what would you say? How do you come across? Practice staying calm. Practice saying the right things. Don't overly quiz your ex. Don't be angry. Don't be bitter. Don't be somebody who is needy, jealous, or possessive. If you need to practice these things, speak it out loud. Maybe speak with your friends. Practice that way. Whatever you need to do, make sure you do it. There is nothing worse than missing out on success because you are underprepared. If you fail to prepare, then you should prepare to fail. Therefore, make sure you're ready for any eventuality. Something even less likely than having a phone call from your ex is your ex knocking on your door and you seeing them in person. But once more, you must be prepared for this. Be prepared. Practice your expressions in the mirror if you need to, because you must be making sure that you look calm, stable, and certainly not awkward. Very, very challenging, but any type of practice you can do, any type of preparation. Maybe you want to type a few things up, write a few things down that you would say to your ex if they called you, that you would say to your ex if you saw them in the street or they knocked on your door. Practice saying them out loud and prepare yourself for any eventuality. Ultimately, you're most likely to receive contact from your ex via a text message or some type of messaging app. But that doesn't mean you won't hear from them in other ways, as happened to the person who posted in my comments. So always be prepared. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.